In this video, I will just do a quick comparison between the Manly Blaze here on my right and the Manly Crafter here on my left. So Manly is a Bulgarian company which makes, of course, knives. They do make fixed blade knives. Currently, I believe they have 4 different variants. These 2 are the ones I'm personally most interested in, but they also have a longer one called the Eagle and a little bit shorter one called the Patriot. And they also do make foldable knives. I have ordered a few foldable knives and I have a look at those in the future. But in this video, I'll just be comparing these 2. And originally, I just wanted a good value bushcraft outdoorsy type of a knife with a blade as close to 12 centimeters as I could possibly get, because 12 centimeters of actual blade is the maximum allowed in most part of Europe. And in my country, if you need to carry something above 12 centimeters, you need to have a specific purpose to do so. So I just wanted to get something close to that so I could do some chopping, batoning and feather sticking, and you can just use it to prepare food and so on. So after doing a little bit of search online, I wanted a relatively inexpensive knife with a D2 steel and preferably a Kydex sheath. And I found the Manly Blaze. First off, I found it on eBay originally, but I ended up going to Manly's own website and ordered it straight from there. It took around 8 days for them to come or to arrive here in my country. I live in Scandinavia and they were shipped from Germany. So if you live in Europe, these are excellent knives to get, because the Blazer here does have a 11.9 centimeter blade, which is just below the 12 centimeters. And the Crafter here does have a 11 centimeter blade. So if you, like me, couldn't really pick between the 2, even though maybe the Blazer was the one I really wanted, I also really wanted to try out the Crafter. But anyways, first off, let's have a look at the Kydex sheath. I wasn't really all that pleased with the Kydex sheath on the Blazer. It was very loose, so there was a lot of movement when I moved it back and forth, which have resulted in me actually, as you can see probably, it does have a little more shine around here. So I've heated it up and I have shaped it a little bit better to the actual handle. And you can see now it's pretty much in there. And I have also shortened or removed some of the material here just to get the knife in and out a little easier. And I've actually done this with both of them just so they will kind of match. I've also ordered an extra Kydex sheath. They're only like 10 euros from Manly as well. And I've also contacted Manly to hear if this is normal. Actually, if all of the knives was kind of loose, you can go, of course, and see my unboxing and first impression video of the Manly Blazer. Because, yeah, like I said, very loose and very rattly in the assembly right here. So after fiddling around with the Kydex sheath, I'm actually very pleased now. Both of them, nice tension here and lock well in place. Let's just remove the sheath here from both of the knives. And you can see both of them have pretty much the same mounting solution. And the 2 bottom holes here do support a standard tech lock as well. So if you want to mount a tech lock like this one here, you can do so in the 2 bottom holes there, the same holes where the belt mount is attached right now. The Kydex sheath overall is quite nice. They are pretty high quality, although it's a little bit strange that they haven't really cut it into more shape as the blade. And like I said, the fitting wasn't perfect on the Blaze. It's not like the knife would fall out or anything like that, but it will just rattle around and that would be a little bit annoying. And there's no drain hole on the Kydex sheath as standard, so I kind of drilled a little hole there. You can kind of see when I have my Crafter in there. You can just maybe see the tip of the blade in there. But this way, you can actually drain some water out of the sheath. And if Manly would just make these kind of adjustments, maybe just drill a drain hole there, or maybe just make a drain hole at the end and make sure that the handles fit inside of the Kydex sheath, then it will be pretty perfect. So I'll still get them maybe an 8 out of 10 with the sheath, because they were definitely fine enough, but just had some rattling here with the Blaze and no drainage holes. The belt fixture here, or attachment, you can have a 5 centimeter belt here in the width, and it's around 2.1 inches as well. You cannot orient it the other way around. That's kind of one of the drawbacks as well. I wish that mainly had made the holes in the sheath here so that you can actually just turn this belt holder around so you can carry the other orientation. That would have been nice, but like I said, you can just use a standard tech lock, and these are widely available and easy to get, so not a big issue at all. Both of these knives are just ordered the D2 variant. This is a German version of D2, so 1.2379. Still plenty sharp, even after a lot of cut tests and so on. And after spending a little more time with these knives, I must say that the Blaze is definitely my preferred blade out of these two. It just feels so nice in my hand. My first impression was that the edges felt a little sharp because you can see the handle here is actually a little bit smaller according to the frame of the knife here. But it actually makes it feel so nice in your hand. Feel like you have very good control on it. Nice comfortable jimping here on my thumb. You have that saber grind. Of course, blade here is 4 millimeters, same as the Crafter, but it does of course carry the thickness pretty much all the way out to the tip right around here. And nice finger stopper here. Really feel like you have control over this knife here. Nicely balanced as well. You can see its balance point is around there. So I feel like this knife just have such a nice balance and fits my hand perfectly, and even have extra room. I would wish though that this one would have a hole for a lanyard, because a blade like this you can also do some light chopping and so on, and it would be nice to just be able to carry or to tie a lanyard around your wrist so the knife just won't fly out of your wrist when you are doing some light chopping and stuff like that. I really like the blade shape as well. You have a nice belly here, very nicely done. And I just got the one with the black G10 scales. This one you can also get, I believe, in orange, and you can also get it in wood, but I just tend to go for the black one, at least initially. I might get the orange one and might just try the wooden one in the future. But for now, I'm definitely more than pleased with this one here. The orange one, of course, has its benefits. If you kind of drop your knife or accidentally place it somewhere out in the wilderness, it can be kind of hard to actually see your knife when they have the black scale or handle scales on there. The orange ones would definitely be much easier to see. And you can also get it in a different steel. So CPM 154, I believe. Of course, at a higher price as well. And you can also get the one with the wooden handles, come with a leather sheath instead of this Kydex sheath. Of course, as a little bit of a premium in terms of the price. So you got plenty of options. I believe the Crafter also have handle scales in the green color, which is not something the Blaze has. But other than that, you can get pretty much the same variants of both knives. So same kind of steel and handle scales, and also with a leather sheath if you prefer that. So the Crafter, of course, fantastic knife as well. We do also have G10 handle scales here, and you can see it is perfectly fit to the actual knife itself. On the Crafter, you do have jimping here on the pointy finger as well as on your thumb, which is kind of nice actually. But I feel like the balance of this knife is a little bit off. It's not bad at all, but I don't feel like it's as well balanced as the Blaze, in my hand at least, and for what I consider to be a well balanced knife. And of course the blade, same thickness up here, but of course it will get a little bit skinner faster here as closer you get to the tip, because this has a full grind on compared to the saber grind on the Blaze here. And other than that, you do not have the same kind of belly here as you do with the Blaze. So you do get a little bit more belly with the Blaze compared to the Crafter, which again I kind of prefer, but I also really like that Crafter. It's definitely a close second to me in terms of blade shape. So one downside and one positive is that the handle scales on the Crafter is permanently attached to the knife. Of course, you could drill these out and just attach some new ones, but one positive thing is, of course, you can tie a lanyard through here, so you could actually protect it a little bit. But I feel like the Crafter is not as good as chopping as the Blaze would be, even though the Blaze probably have both, like in terms of the handle shape, are a little less designed to actually chop, because this is kind of nice to hold on to. If you kind of back up a little bit here on the handle scales, you can do some pretty nice chopping, whereas the Blaze in combination with not being able to tie a lanyard around your wrist, you don't really have that same kind of handle here where you can actually hold on with a few fingers. Still pretty fine, but I prefer this crafter handle scales a little bit better in terms of actually backing up a little bit here on your handles and do a little bit of chopping. So in terms of blade length, like I said, the mainly crafter here is pretty close to perfect 12 centimeters, which is excellent news if you live in a country like I do, where 12 centimeters is kind of considered to be the maximum length of knife you actually need. If you need to carry something above 12 centimeters, you need to have a specific purpose to do so, or specific blade shape or so on to do so. If you carry a knife under 12 centimeters, you just need to have a purpose to carry a knife, like going out in the forest and do some cutting, and even just peeling an apple would be enough. And the crafter is advertised as 11.9, but you can see it's actually more close to 11.1 if you measure from the handle scales in. But of course, if you measure from the stop here, the finger stop, and out, it is closer to that 10.9. And let's just do a quick comparison here between my Red 3, which has been my previous bushcraft outdoorsy knife. Feel like it's a little short for some tasks. Great also knife for most things I do, but if I wanted a little bit longer blade, it is definitely falling a little bit short. But you can see that you get so much more blade and still have a nice belly there on the blades. And the crafter, you can see you also get a little bit longer blade, but it's not really that significant as the blaze compared to something like the Red 3. So which knife to go for? I personally would not be able to pick between the two. If I really have to pick one, I would probably go with the blaze, just because the feel in the hand, the balance, and the extra length in blade. But the mainly crafter is definitely a close second. Really like that handle as well. I kind of like the jimping there and the index finger, and on the thumb. Not really something I miss on the blaze, because it does have a little bit of a finger choil there for my index finger, so I can kind of grip it a little bit better here. I really like both of these knives, and they cost exactly the same if you buy them with the same, of course, steel and handle scales. Like I said, it took around 8 days to arrive here in Scandinavia, shipped from Germany. And beside those smaller issues I've had with the Kydex sheath, both of them is perfectly functional out of the box, but drilling a little bit of a hole here, drainage hole, and maybe just heat it up a little bit and squeeze it in a little bit so it fits a little bit better. So definitely fantastic knives. I can't really complain about the fit and finish of the knife itself. Feels perfect, almost perfection in my opinion. And it's pretty insane you can get such great knives and well-made knives for this low price point. And I would definitely highly recommend either of these. Like I said, link for both of these knives down in the description below. And I don't have any affiliation with Manly at all. And I, of course, paid for this knife with my own money. So this is my own opinion. And my opinion definitely is go and get these knives here. They're great knives to have, and they don't cost as much, especially the D2 variant here. So if you lose one out in the field, you won't really lose any sleep over it. But definitely knives that I feel like I can have in my collection for many years to come. So yeah, I highly recommend them. Link in the description below if you're interested. But that's pretty much it for this video. I hope to see you again in a future one. Until then, take care.